So going into playoffs, I think that TDE was really, one, we're very confident. I go into everything with overwhelming confidence. But two, we're kind of pissed off about last season, how it ended a little bit earlier than we expected. And this season's not going to go the same.
Going into playoffs, SLR is feeling pretty confident. I mean, we finished first in regular season pretty easily. One of the most dominant teams to ever brace FOF. And I think this is going to be a pretty easy series for us.
During a series, we are incredible because we never lose confidence. I think everyone on our team is ready to go, always stay positive. No matter if a series, if we're down 0-2, we're always still in it and ready to come back.
Ooh, Antunes getting a little spicy, diving in on the back line. Bandage toss going over the wall. Doesn't manage to catch him up. The curse of the Sad Mummy's going to get huge luck down. But look at that bullet time, catching multiple members of TDE on the background. Antunes taking so much damage. He's going to get taken out of the equation. The Sad Mummy is gone. Fang over Fang picks up Ultra Box as well. That is a huge fight.
Yeah, so SLR on the season came in as an average, okay looking team, but all of their individual players have completely shot up the ranks and turned into a lot more threatening of a roster than they were originally. So in terms of preparation, I definitely have been putting a lot of games on a Heimerdinger. I'm thinking about it maybe even going 0-10 in this series. So we'll see if SLR can handle that.
So what I think makes TDE so strong as opponents is that they force teams to play their style, which is literally just mosh pit, just stupid. This almost reminds me of Taz back in the day, if there's any FOF veterans out there, where they play very rock and roll, not jazz. It's just all over the place. This series I'm kind of excited because I'm facing Gleaves, who is the only jungler that I respect in Mythic. They're the only jungler that can actually stop invades and know how to counter jungle, and I think that they're the only matchup I've been looking forward to when it comes to jungling.
Gonna land the ultimate, gonna land the knock up. That's the laser coming through. So much damage as Beatdown's gonna be beaten down himself. Now the ultimate's gonna come through. Fangs is gonna be in a bit of trouble. Dust's gonna have the ultimate available, but he's been CC'd up. Great hook. The flash away is gonna be Twitch is gonna manage to keep himself safe. The ultimate's coming through. So much damage coming onto this backline. Not enough as Jaffe's gonna be forced to flash away. Orphix on the backline. Ultravox is gonna die. All the kills is gonna be there. And a masterful bait from the side of Lord.
Yeah, in terms of standout players for SLR, I don't really think there are any. Really, I just want to help get Brendan back to the staff. I don't think he needs to be playing anymore.
All I have to say for TDE is that we're going to smoke up that TDE pack, that Trader pack, and we're going to take an easy 3-0 this week.
We are down 5 teams. We are down to the single 3 remaining. Only 2 can move on to the grand finals, and it's going to be one of these 2 teams meeting YOLO right there week today. Welcome, everyone. My name is Escape. We are facing down the semifinals between Super Late Reveal and Trickle Down Economics 2, and I'm joined by Utility Monster.
Hello! I'm very excited for this second semifinal. I love the Yumi hover, respecting the team that unfortunately lost yesterday, but they're still with us in our hearts, I hope, because I was on that team.
You know what? I've been there. I've lost pretty much across the board. Am I listed as the coach? That's amazing. All right. Well, you know, I'm getting a little bit more respect than I necessarily deserve, but these 2 teams deserve a ton of respect. They've had some dominant records so far. Super Late Reveal ending off the season in first place. TDE taking it for, I believe, the first, 6 weeks? They were really, really strong opening up with this team. And it's really been a shift between how they've been able to develop throughout the season and how they're arranging themselves in the meta as it has shifted towards, you know, the later stages of this Worlds patch, and how we've seen things shift towards the top lane. How do you feel about how these 2 teams have really shapen up throughout the season so far? You played into them so much.
I think SLR really surprised a lot of people since they were thrown together last minute with just their individual growth throughout the season, and as a team, that's just made them really strong. I think their team play is good. I don't think it's a weakness, but definitely the strength is the top to bottom individual play on that roster. Whereas TDE, I think, is the opposite. They surprised people with their level of team coordination that was missing last season, and we already know that they're good individually.
Yeah,
but let's get into this draft real quick. So we have 2 jungle bans against Leaves, pretty standard to not want him to get Kayn Belveth, and then the Talia ban against Zen Zen, and then we have 2 Pure Llama bans in Seraphine and Swain, and the Volibear ban as a flex pick for both Anti and Fang over Fang. I'm a little bit surprised by this Jinx first pick. It's not an AD carry that I think of as the meta revolving around it at the moment,
Yeah.
but I don't know what you think about that.
I think that she's definitely odd as a first pick. Now, she definitely doesn't have, obviously, last season we saw a lot of Jinx priority, was able to do a lot, especially with Heroic League being, it's an easy champion to pick up. It's an easy champion to play. She's really, really effective, and she still does that to a certain degree. There are stronger lane pickups, but into Ultravox's pool, maybe Lulu feels like that's going to be a little bit safer, and with Tep picking up the Lulu there, this is going to be a team that wants to play around this Jinx. They're going to try and put Lulu as their main carry, and they've done that before to some really good success, and I think they're starting off and they're saying, hey, we're just going to go with our man in the bot lane. We're going to let him show off.
That makes sense to me. The Ashe and the Azir are big comfort picks for Zen Zen and Ultravox, so definitely see where those picks are coming from. And Gangplank, it's a huge comfort pick for Jaffe, so would not be surprised to see that one locked in as well. So definitely TDE opting for these are the champions we play and show us what you got.
Yeah, normally you see a team kind of go towards those comfort picks when their backs are against the wall in these types of tournament sets, but I like TDE deciding we're going to just start off with it, get comfortable in the set against SLR. Obviously, SLR is a difficult team to read. They're not a team that necessarily prioritizes practicing a lot. They trust their individual skills. They trust their playmaking. They've really grown together as a team this season, and they've been able to just meld together in a way that makes it really difficult for a lot of teams to take down. They really haven't had a lot of losses. And that's to show for how well they've gotten things together. Vladimir being taken away there from, I presume, Pure Llama. I don't know that Anti plays that at all. So with these two teams, they're both shaping up to be very, very late game oriented. I think TDE still needs some amount of frontline. They look like they want to play mainly to disengage. Obviously, they do have the pick potential with the Ashe arrow. Meanwhile, SLR is most likely going to play for just that run in. They've got the speed with the Lulu. They've got the ultimate coming out of the Maokai, which I presume is going to be going to Fang, could be going to Anti in that top lane. But this is definitely one team that wants to go forwards and one team that wants to go back.
Certainly true. I'm a little bit surprised by the Maokai and Lulu in the first rotation, because one of the big strengths of Maokai is that he's so good as a support, and so if you lock his support immediately after, it really limits your options. I would expect, if they're going to flex it, for that to go to jungle, because Gangplank is good into Maokai. But I'm not sure whether Brendan seems like a Maokai player either, so not 100% sure on that. But yeah, 2 more jungle bans targeted at Leaves, so let's see what he'll pick up here. Strength of his pool, he plays Rek'Sai and Nunu in addition to what's shown here, so I'd expect one of those.
And it looks like it is going to be the Nunu with about 3 seconds left. No, they are going to lock that one in. So that is a little bit juxtaposed to how the rest of the composition wants to move. Obviously can play slightly peeled with Nunu, using the ulti to just try and stop engages as an option, but we've seen Leaves play this before. It is early game dominance across the board. He wants to be in every lane in the first 5 minutes, make those adjustments in the early stages, make it uncomfortable for SLR to play without some sort of vision control, without prio, and he's very good at getting and making a team uncomfortable. So for an opener to a set, that could be a really good option. Pure Llama picks Syndra. I've been really liking Syndra after the mid-scope changes.
I think new Syndra is quite strong. I'd agree with that. I'm also surprised, actually, that it wasn't banned and they banned Victor instead, because Pure Llama, as far as I know, is not a Victor player, and he has been playing quite a bit of Syndra recently. I was snooping his OPGG before the series, so I would have been my ban over Victor, but they both do the same thing, so not a huge difference. And there's Anti's Irelia, so that will be Maokai jungle, and Irelia seems like a good matchup in the Gangplank, and it's definitely Anti's number 1 most comfortable champion, I would say.
Yeah, they were definitely a little bit upset when they didn't get to play it in the RLS playoffs at all. It looks like it's going to be Alistar the option there for TDE. Bob Joseph has been known to pull out some crazy stuff in the past. Alistar's not exactly insane per se, but really just hasn't been a pick that we see a lot of meta coverage on as it ticks down to 0. It looks like that is going to be what he takes. So kind of an interesting variety of options for TDI. I want to know what they're going to annex on, what they're going to play with for this comp.
Yeah, I liked TDE's draft a lot until that Alistar. I actually really don't like this Alistar, and there's 2 reasons for that. One is that I think it's a really telegraphed sorts of engage, and they already have telegraphed engage. They have Azir shuffling in, they have Nunu rolling a ball at you, And so it'd be nice if you had something that was less committal. So a Leona ult or a Nautilus ult or a Blitzcrank pull, something along those lines if you're looking for engage. And then the matchup as well is not amazing. Lulu is actually quite good into Alistar. Whatever target he goes on can get Lulu ulted and shielded. So I think Blitzcrank is the better matchup into Enchanters generally, just because you can hook them away from their team and isolate them. And even a Leona ult or a Nautilus hook is, I think, a better bang for your buck than Alistar. So I think Bob Joseph definitely has a lot to prove with that pick. And he is a little bit crazy, so maybe he can make it work.
Yeah, we'll have to see. These teams are both going to head on in for game number 1 of this best of 5 semifinals. These two teams staring down a potential to make it to a Mythic final. The first, I don't know if I'm exactly comfortable calling this an 8-team Mythic league, but the first full Mythic season that we've had in over a year at this point, and these two teams are both looking for the opportunity to meet anyone. Of course, it's going to be Street Smurf in finals.
Street Smurf has never missed a Mythic finals, and that's a pretty impressive trend. But one interesting thing here on the summoner spells, just looking down the board, is Ludra taking cleanse. I think that's just for Ash Arrow. And that's a lot of respect just for one cooldown to not have a combat summoner earlier in lane. So that actually might make it harder for the double range to bully the Alistar early. But I'm not a bot lane expert. Is that something that you can take advantage of, or is this just gonna be a farm lane no matter what?
Generally what that allows is that lets your support player leave the lane, because the risk that you run is anytime that your support leaves the lane into an Ashe, they have the opportunity to take control of a bush and then just stand there, and if you don't see the Ashe, you're either losing your flash on the arrow or you're dead. So taking cleanse normally is a way to allow for 2v1 situations where you can just be in lane into Ashe. I don't imagine that's what Tef's looking to do. So obviously it's going to allow for some play around that cooldown. Obviously you can get the ignite off with it, but yeah, I think that maybe looking towards an exhaust or even a ghost would be good here. So it looks like they're going to try and play aggressive right off the bat. Ashe has a lot of damage at this stage. Great double knock up there from Bob Joseph. There's the cleanse getting burned out already into the ignite. Still flash available for Ultravox. They have gotten the wave into their advantage, but Luru with no health left over. Rough early trade for SLR. And then look at this. Ultravox continuing to walk forward. There's the flash available for the Alistar. Tef taken down to 100 HP. And that is dominance shown early from TDE's bot lane.
Yeah, all summoners blown from Luru. And they didn't leash in order to get that bush cheese, and they lost handily. They just let Bob Joseph walk up and get the double pulverize. And so not only is Maokai going to have a worse clear than he otherwise would, but they're just behind in this lane. So that's a little bit surprising to me. Usually if you see a no leash, it's to get the shove, and they instead opt for the fight that they end up losing. So not ideal, not what you're hoping for with that plan going into the game.
Now, both these junglers did opt to path towards this top side. Obviously, they have two late game scalers up in that top lane. Currently, Jaffe's taken on the bullying role up there right now as the flash is getting burned out of Tef right there, having to respect the Alistar, who still has flash available. But I think Tef is just going to burn down. No chance to get out of there. Ultravox on this Ashe has been just making it so hard for SLR to do anything.
Yeah, just an early level 2 kill, and they didn't even hit level 2 first. They had the wave pushed in on them, and they hit level 2 later and just found a window. So that's all summoners down for SLR. And
wow. Bye-bye, Crab.
Yeah, that's Nunu.
Yeah, just looking for that, the seafood. That's what Nunu's after, I think, at the moment. You used to have that thing where he would have like you'd eat certain camps and get certain buffs. Do you remember that?
I do remember that.
It just has like a palette type of thing. I don't know if they're going to bring that back. That'd be awesome. I miss that. Even if it's just like flavor text, if you will.
That'd be funny.
It would be pretty good.
Both junglers skipped their Krugs, so Maokai going down to that now, and we see an early mid gank from Bob Joseph forcing the flash from Pure Llama.
Yeah, you know what? As a flash trade, I think you take that. That's going to give Zenzen some comfort in this mid lane. Obviously, that's going to let Leaves get some very effective ganks off as soon as that E comes down. That's going to be an opportunity for that Nunu to make it into the lane. And Bob Joseph, like we talked about it, he's a bit crazy. He's willing to do stuff that a lot of other players wouldn't be. And I think we might see that with this Alistar just being able to get on the map. That's what Ali's known for. Meanwhile, making this 2v2 in the bot lane, Luru's caught out. There's no flash available, and the Jinx is just going to die. Now they're going to try and push forward towards Tef. They do see Fang over Fang on the ward there. He's going to sweep it out from the Tri-Brush. And Ultravox is going to have Bob Joseph coming back to lane. This could freeze, and that could be detrimental to that Jinx getting online.
Yeah, really nice timing there from Leaves. Bob Joseph ganked mid and recalled, so Luru and Tef felt like they were safe to push up in the lane. And they normally would be, but they didn't quite have vision of the Nunu, who took the crab and came down. And Nunu, without recalling, is just going to do a second full clear. So this is very efficient money for Leaves. He's a little bit weak in fights doing the second clear without backing.
Yeah, and it feels like Fang over Fang's a little bit lost on what he's actually allowed to do right now. He looks like he's going to try and make a play towards his bot lane. Leaves has found Pure Llama. Here comes the engage from Zen Zen. There's no flash available in the Syndra, and she's just going to die. This map presence from this Nunu has been so strong, and TDE continues to bully this early game.
All right, I spoke too soon. He wasn't going to full clear. He just did Gromp and then ganked mid. So that tells you I'm a farmer jungler, and Leaves is not. And he is correct because he gets another kill.
Yeah, and that's a priority for that Azir, who we all know. We've all been there where we play into, 5, 6 Azirs consecutively. And it's like, yeah, they all did nothing. And eventually one gets to late game and you don't feel like you're allowed to play anymore. Irelia and Gangplank are both champions that could do the same thing. And both so far have gone absent to the jungle attention of both Fang over Fang and Leaves. Right now, 3v2 in the bot lane right now. Ultravox preemptively flashing out of there. There's the engage onto Bob Joseph. No flash available, but they might be able to trade this one for Tef. The shield's going to try and get them away, and they are going to be able to survive. Fang over Fang takes the kill in the bot lane. The wave's going to get shoved in. And just a miscalculation from Bob Joseph there.
Yeah, nice lane gank by Fang over Fang there, staying in the bush so that they could counter the play, taking advantage of Bob Joseph's aggressiveness. But still, you definitely take TDE's bot lane in this position, I think.
Ooh. Here comes the trade, but Anti's out of mana. I don't think they realize that, as they're going to get bullied out of that lane, and it's a free kill handed over to Jaffe. Turret plates as well, and that Gangplank is his signature for a reason.
Yeah, flash in the mastery there. And that's a big kill because, as you say, it's a plate and a lost wave for Anti, so it's not just the kill, which is already bad, but it's so much more.
Your Llama has been refusing to let Zen Zen back in this mid lane. I feel like he's been stuck there for a long time now. There's no mana to assist this gank with, but I don't think Leaves is too bothered because Bob Joseph is there. There's still no flash available on the Syndra. She's going to get headbutted back towards the enemy tower. There's going to be the root available there from Nunu, and I think that this is just going to be a kill. Mid laner went back to base. Pure Llama thought that he was going to be safe, and he might just be because Tef gets the counter roam, and it's going to be a kill going back onto Bob Joseph. Now they're going to try and turn back. The Absolute Zero was pulled off of the minion wave and trades back onto Pure Llama. Now Zen Zen's here trying not to show. Has the availability to go for that shuffle. What a crazy play in the mid lane.
Yeah, Bob Joseph just a little bit too eager for violence there. Ends up over diving into the Lulu. It goes down. But the level 6 comes in just in time for the Nunu, so the play's at least salvaged. But yeah, that looked like it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, definitely. But, it's going to give an opportunity for Zen Zen to get ahead in the level advantage right now. There's no TP on that Syndra, so that's going to be a wave pushed in. Overall, I think Zen Zen's all right with that gank, even though there is the kill that goes back onto the Syndra. Gets the Lulu out of lane for a little bit. Now, Anti trying to make, make something positive out of that earlier trade that went in favor of Jaffe. Trying to get that wave and get some damage down.
Yeah. So interesting thing about Jaffe's Gangplank. Oh.
Zen Zen's there. This game refuses to take a break right now. Here comes the engage. Anti, no flash, no ult available. Gonna get pushed back into Jaffe. The barrel comes down, trying to stun up the Azir and does successfully, trying to use him as his escape path, but it's not there. And TDE is taking the dragon.
That's a very greedy dragon take while your Azir goes to roam top lane, but they're going to be rewarded for it, and they're going to get it.
You can't complain, sometimes those greedy plays, you know what? They're greedy for a reason, because if you can get away with them, that's so much in pocket right now. 2k gold advantage right now to TE, plus that first dragon. They have been controlling this map without any punctuation.
Yep. No, that definitely comes from the bottom pressure they got as well. Starting from level 1, is able to push that in and take the Drake, even though Azir is top lane. What I was going to say about Jaffe's Gangplank, though, so I actually had the pleasure of going to a Worlds party with Jaffe.
Aww.
And Fantastic Worlds, you should go watch it if you haven't. But we talked about his Gangplank builds, and I asked him how come he always goes Essence Reaver into lethality.
Ooh, there's the flash forward right there onto Luru, but trying to predict the flash from Luru himself, but doesn't get burned right now. Ultravox is stunned up. There's potentially, yes, the polymorph does come through, but they've already taken half HP on both those bot laners. The level deficit is showing right now as Ultravox has that ultimate. Here comes the engage right now, gets stunned up, hasn't used the E yet, but you can't use it through enemy champions, and he gets rooted up again. Has a lot of HP, though, doesn't decide to burn the flash. It can't get out of there alive. Trade in the bot lane. gets an ultimate out of GP.
Yep. Whew, that's a lot of trading. Sinzen goes down and Bob Joseph flashes, but yeah, back to Jaffe's Gangplank. I asked him why he always goes crit lethality, and he said he likes to one-shot people. I said, but isn't Triforce better? He said, yeah, I built Triforce in the game of solo queue. I did really well. It's really strong, but you don't one-shot people. And I thought that definitely encapsulates Jaffe really well. I think
It really does.
The mentality is, I don't care if it's the best or the worst. I just want to make someone go away.
Yeah, I want to be able to have fun with it. And you know what? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Right now, Anti's the only one looking broke right there in that top lane. Has a 2-kill disadvantage right now. Jaffe's sitting there with a shutdown available. Going to continue to farm up on those turret plates, on the Krugs as well. And TDE, really, their only small flub so far has been on miscalculations on Fang over Fang's positioning. And even though we were kind of I was harping on it earlier of Fang over Fang not being able to get into lanes and be effective immediately. The times that he has been able to find his way into plays has been very, very strong.
Yeah, he's also done quite a bit of farm because as you saw Jaffe taking Nunu's Krugs, Nunu is taking Fang's Krugs. So some Nunu coming in and eating your camps is going to put a almost 25 farm advantage in the jungle there, which is nothing to scoff at. That's quite a bit of levels and gold that it's just going to make Nunus that much tankier in any skirmishes or fights over Dragon.
I was gonna say, close your eyes and tell me where Bob Joseph is right now, because nobody would have guessed that this cow has found his way into the top lane right now. And once again, Lee's is down here already to support his ADC. And look at this, it puts Luru on a timer because here comes the snowball. There's no answer there. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow is gonna go wide. Leaves doesn't seem too bothered with it. Gonna try and turn the play right now onto Tef. Fang over Fang is there. There's the flash burned out of Tef. Trying to continue this play right now is Leaves. Has that phase rush to try and get him out of there, but getting slowed up. Getting CC'd. The smite comes through as well. Is he gonna be able to get out of there? Yes! They disengage. The dive is going through top lane right now. Bob Joseph is just so goddamn tanky. They clean up Anti in the top lane. Leaves getting re-engaged on, and now dive pressure is potentially available. No, it's just gonna be a 1-for-1 cross map.
I think that was a greedy recall by Nunu. I didn't see it on the screen, but it looked like he was out, and then we panned back and he's dead. So unfortunate what happened there, but yeah, big roam from Bob Joseph, getting Jaffe even further ahead. And this Gangplank, the later the game goes on, the one-shot build might, not be the fastest way to get power in Gangplank compared to the one-item spike of a Triforce, but you get full build.
TDE from Gangplank right now, trying to play with his AD carry. Fang over Fang stuck underneath the turret. It's forced to flash out. It's being taken very low, and it's hard to get away from an Ashe player. Jaffe going to be able to chase down. Has a lot of damage in pocket right now. There's the flash forward from Ultravox. He wants to continue this play. Zenzen is coming down. Does have the shuffle available. Here's the TP being matched from the Syndra of Pure Llama. Fang over Fang goes in. Ultravox being taken very low, but he wants to try and continue this play. Luru trying to turn. Could go excited, but no. Gets knocked up at the last second. Zenzen is able to get away. Flash forward from Jaffe's going to pick up the double kill right now. It is 3v2 in favor of TDE. Leaves coming down. Maybe going to try and force this dive right now as we're 40 seconds away from the dragon. Here comes the Nunu. Looks like they're just going to push this wave in. Trade plates on the top side to Anti.
Yeah, this is actually quite good for Anti to get
No
all
scatter.
this
No
gold.
scatters here. There's the shuffle pushing Syndra to Bob Joseph, but he misses the headbutt pulverized. Here's the TP coming through from the Irelia. Going to pull her out of that top lane away from those turret plates, but low HP for Zenzen right now, and the respawn timers are starting to come through. TDE knows that they are too close to the enemy base, and they're going to try and get out of dodge.
Just nothing but action. Even when there's not actually deaths going down, people are trying to kill each other as best as they can. It's absolutely wild.
Yeah, no, it's just relentless, these guys. They all see opportunities. They all have pick potential in their compositions. There's a lot of damage stacked on the side of TD, and they're trying to make these plays, but continue. Oh! Picks up the kill at the last second, and that's going to mean so much for this dragon potential, because without that Azir, it's so much harder for them to challenge.
And it just went over someone else's recall too. Poor Zenzen, just unlucky timing there.
Oh, it's such a heartbreaker. It really, like that is so valuable for Lure to be able to pick up that kill. A couple kills on a Jinx can really be the difference maker, as they know that the dragon has been taken down, and they're gonna have to try and move away from this. TDE losing a bit of their footing right now, but it's still a 4k gold deficit. Most of that is on that Gangplank right now. 2 items finished up before the Bork is even in semblance from Irelia.
Yeah, and this Gangplank is just so accelerated, and it is so hard for SLR's roster to deal with it, because Maokai has to walk into it, Irelia has to walk into it. Syndra can stun from a range, but if you want Syndra to do full damage, you have to be in barrel combo range. Jinx has long enough range that you can do some stuff with it, but you can never face check as Jinx.
Ooh.
Freaking could blow you up.
Bob Joseph has been caught out in this tri-brush, taken away his escape route there. Still caught the tri-brush, is going to continue to take a lot of damage and does get rooted up at the last moment there. Maybe should have just taken it right away. Ultimate comes through. That's going to take him down to under 100 HP right now. Is Bob Joseph really going to stay and try and get the passive proc here? Tef's going to try and play aggressive, get towards that Alistar, but understands the risk there. This is some weird baiting plays. They're going to try and get Zen down to this bot lane.
Yeah, he's baiting his ult, but damage reduction doesn't matter if you don't have HP to back it up.
Yeah. It's quite the risk that they're playing with right now. Looks like Leaf is just playing for the vision control, and now with the top turret down, TD is going to try and leverage this to get this control around this Rift Herald that's just coming up. Yeah, and probably use that to open up mid.
The last 5 minutes of play have definitely been SLR favored.
Yes.
TDE has been throwing punches as well, but especially given the lead they started off with, I think SLR is going to be very happy with that. The problem is SLR's comp is supposed to be doing that kind of thing come mid-game. And because their laning phase went so badly for them, they're still down 3,000 gold, and that's going to make it really hard to do what they want to do.
Zen has already burnt the Q, gets stunned up, but a really good Emperor's Divide, and the Enchanted Crystal Arrow does find the Syndra. The re-engage is there from Zen. Flash from Bob Joseph to try and get behind the Syndra. Taken low, both these mid laners. First one to go down is Zen. Ignite is ticking, but I don't know if Pure Llama is going to be able to burn it down. No! He gets taken and lives away. And now the Nunu's going to try and create some sort of a re-engage as Jaffe's going to try and join this one back up. Ultravox and Luru, both free firing, completely untouched, but they see this Jaffe gangplank. They know they have to be afraid. Ultravox continuing to find damage on Fang over Fang right now. There's no TP available for Pure Llama to try and get back into this fight, but it's a 1-for-0, and the kill comes onto Zen.
Yeah, no, that's another exciting play, but again, another win for SLR. They get the kill, no one dies, they get out. And if I'm TDE, I think you want to slow the game down just a little bit. You're stronger still, you still have more gold, but your team wants more items. So I think you want to use your strength now to force the game to be a little bit slower until you have your Infinity Edge on Gangplank, your hat on Azir, you know, all these really big core items that let you win fights.
Big rotation from SLR to try and play for this this large scuttle crab, as it were. They find a pick on a Tef, gets pushed up really far out of position. Luru is still very comfortable in the backline. Anti and Tef both near this Rift Herald pit, but Bob Justice has been taken so low, and there's been damage found on Ultravoxes now, front to back. TD is trying to fight this one in reverse. They find a way onto the Syndra. The shuffle potential, but he doesn't have it off cooldown. Zen still finds that kill, leaves is able to flash away. Now it's potential for Anti to try and turn this right now. 1 versus 4 in the middle of TD, but he can't find the kill. Jaffe still yet to go down. The reset is here from Luru. This is when it starts to get dangerous. Jinx finds 2 kills right now, does have the ultimate available if he wants to try and continue the chase. But it's just going to be a 2-for-3 picked up so far. The ultimate out of Bob Joseph lives with a sliver. Sees Anti and has to try and retreat out. And no one's going to take the Herald.
I wish these teams would give you a break, but they really don't want to. They really want your voice to be gone. So hopefully you don't have anything yet important to say tomorrow, because it sounds like it's going to keep keeping up, because this game is still anyone's to take.
Yeah, no, but you have to look at it, right? That's GP's first death. Who did it go to? Jinx.
Yeah, no, that's a big shutdown.
Deal.
Yeah,
there's so much gold now onto Luru. That is, there are very few champions that you can look at and say, that's not too bad. They're not behind yet. And Jinx is one of those. Jinx still isn't behind. She's got that the Runeon's finished. Still doesn't have the boots done, but has 2 big damage items completed. That is so much team fighting damage. Ultravox will not be able to match that. It just will never get to that point on Ashe. So it's about how can TD make Luru uncomfortable, and so far in these fights, they have never found a way to that Jinx. Luru has done such a good job of putting himself in hard-to-reach locations, and as a result, SLR has been winning these mid-game team fights.
Yeah. I actually think that's the Azir who's been matching the Jinx damage and not the Ashe, because you're correct. Sure. Jinx just does more damage than Ashe, because Ashe offers so much utility. It'd be kind of crazy if she also had
gets stunned.
More than that.
It does get canceled there. Jaffe now with the TP on cooldown.
And that means he'll have to run down to this dragon, and while Aurelia still has the teleport.
So there's the Scuttle Crab being taken as both these teams are going to try and posture for this one. Zenzen has picked up that blue buff. Jaffe is doing Jaffe things in the top lane. He's going to try and rush down this Rift Herald in a single minute. TDE thus giving up the pressure on the bear or the Dragon Pit. They're not too concerned about it right now. Ultravox caught in a little bit of an odd choke as they're trying to defend their mid turret. Now Luru's pressuring it. Zenzen able to get through the traps right there and be able to defend that turret, leaving both of his frontliners out in a bit of an odd position. And now SLR is going to rotate towards this Dragon Tape, but I don't know if they know that they're trading this.
They want to play this, but can they?
Find the cleanse off of Luru, barely goes white. Zenzen, another flash there. Both summoners out of Luru were played fantastically, but they do find the kill onto the Jinx right now. Bob Joseph and Ultravox stuck in the middle of 4. Anti shows up in a big way, and without that TP, this Gangplank, this gold difference on the side of TDE can never show up to make a difference in this dragon fight. Anti making a big difference. And it looks like that's going to be TDE cleaned off the map, and it is up to Jaffe to try and play this, but there are some low health bars on the side of SLR.
Yeah, but 4v1, there's nothing you can do. And that's just an overextension. It was a good fight. They win on Luru. They knew they had to. They got the kill, but it's just a counting differential. You have to be able to say that they have 5, we have 4. We got Rift Herald in top lane. We know we have no teleport. And Jaffe is known for being a pretty quiet player, so you have to wonder, if there's a chance he didn't communicate that to his team or if people weren't aware, because they at no point tried to not contest the dragon, even after the teleport was very much on cooldown and Jaffe was very much never coming.
Yeah, it's hard to know what the call was there. Like, if they were under the impression that they're strong enough, and obviously they do still have a gold differential, but I think if you take the Irelia and the Gangplank out of the picture, I think that SLR's at an advantage. If you just take the Gangplank out of the picture, it's a huge advantage for SLR, and that's exactly what they had there, and they played right to it. And even though we saw that early game dominance that was favoring TDE, it hasn't continued, and SLR is clawing their way back.
Yeah, and I think that's a good way to put it, is that if without Gangplank, without Irelia, SLR is ahead right now. And I don't know if TDE realizes that, because their play doesn't seem like they're respecting that, and that's a really big opening for SLR if they can try and get Anti to just hold Jaffe in a side lane as long as possible while they try and get this Jinx fed, try and get the Syndra picks, try and get the Maokai picks. And it's been working for him so far, but we do see this Herald finally coming into use, getting mid tier 1 and a lot of damage on this tier 2.
And it's so slow to react from SLR. There's no summons on that Jinx, and she just gets removed from Summoner's Rift. This turret is going to go down to Ultravox right now. It is 5v4 plus low HP from Tep. They find a way in onto Zenzen. Doesn't have that ultimate available, and he will be traded. Pure Llama in the middle. Big stun comes onto Bob Joseph right there. The Irelia of Anti finds a way onto 3. Bob Joseph yet to fall, leaves, playing in the middle of several, and they are able to take this back. It is 3 for 1 so far, and it's going to be a live for the Maokai. The Irelia will live. TDE is falling apart in the face of SLR. They found the kill onto the Jinx, but TDE loses all 5.
And yeah, they get a nice initial picks on the Jinx. They weren't expecting the tower dive on the side of SLR, but just an overstay from TDE. It felt like they felt like they could continue without the Jinx there because Jinx is so strong, but you can't just take damage for free, and that's what ended up happening with Pure Llama getting some nice damage off, and Fang over Fang on the Maokai really being really disruptive in that backline and letting Anti and Pure Llama clean up. So again, we keep saying it, like, the lead is still there, but it keeps getting smaller, and all the momentum from 10 minutes into this game has been on SLR's side, even if objectively they're not ahead.
Ooh, very close to being able to find that pick on a Pure Llama. And I think we talked about this in draft. One of these compositions is supposed to go forward, and one of these compositions is supposed to go backwards. And did you notice that it's inverted? TDE is consistently trying to run in, create plays, find their opportunities, and SLR is kiting back, defending their carries, and letting them turn the fights around. And I think it's strange that both of these teams really have drafted styles that are not matching up, but really just parallel to what each other are doing.
Yeah, I don't think it's quite as simple as, I don't know if we have time for a discussion on team comps. We have a Baron to do. I think TDE knows, but I don't think SLR cares if they know. I think they want to fight.
Yeah, I think they want to try and draw this fight as much as possible. Now, they know that they have Jappy in the bot lane. We'll see if they play to this right now. Obviously, that GP does have teleport available, and he is going to grab up that first bot lane outer turret. Is down to 6k right now. That Jinx finds the opportunity to free fire. It will die so fast. 4 people from TDE trying to answer this. There's the ultimate coming out of the Maokai. That's really good for zoning out TDE. Leaves is looking for a way, and he finds his way into the pit, but he's unable to steal. And now TDE is going to try and force this one 4 versus 5. They think they have a good opportunity to find their first kill onto Anti, and they're going to trade. No, they aren't able to find Fang over Fang. Now it's 2v4. Running away from the Baron pit. Leaves will take the Super Mega Death Rocket to the jaw. And it's just going to be Ultravox walking away from that Baron take with Jappy on the bot lane inhibitor.
Yeah, that's a really good sequence of events for SLR, but they got a little bit lucky. So the comms there from TDE, I'm sure, are the Nunu says, I have flash, I'm going to flash in, I have consumed smite. Nothing can beat that. And just barely off on that combo does not quite get the Baron, because if that's a TDE Baron, even with the lost fight, with all the towers bottom and a Baron buff, that's a huge win. So because they didn't get the Baron, it's a big win for SLR, as they now get mid towers and the Baron gold and the fight win, and they should get control for this dragon and get soul point. Unless TDE, well, maybe TDE comes out and fights them, and they haven't backed away from a fight yet.
Is it insane to you that this game is only 25 minutes in? I feel like we've been non-stop action, and it looks like Leaves is going to try and continue that one, as Fang over Fang is going to find the engage and puts Leaves in the middle of 4. This is not when you want to lose your Nunu. Down he goes, and they find the way in onto Ultravox as well. He doesn't burn flash, and he is down. Just no vision control, no patience from TDE. They have fallen apart from their mental domination in the early stages, and now it's 3 kills picked up right before Soul Point. I don't even think it's in contention anymore.
Yeah, they seem to just only want to go one way, and that's in, and that can work, and a lot of teams do really well with that, but if it doesn't work, it sometimes can look really silly, and I think that's what we're seeing here. I think just need a little bit more patience out of TDE so that they could scale up their items, because if you look at the items here, Azir doesn't have, you know, the stat multiplier of a hat or a ton of magic pen. It's Azanya's, which is nice to engage, but it's a defensive item. It's not a ton of damage. We don't have any Infinity Edge on Gangplank or on Ashe. Like, the multipliers aren't there. The damage isn't there yet for this comp, and so the Maokai is too disruptive. The Cinder Stun is too disruptive. The now Infinity Edge Jinx is doing too much damage, especially with the Lulu backing it up. I just think that they got ahead, and then they thought that they could press their advantage when they, in fact, needed to take their lead and use that to drag the game out.
Yeah, and now it's going to be whether or not they can find their way back. Obviously, we have seen this game shift sides already. It's not impossible for it to shift back, but SLR really has been without mistake outside of that laning phase so far, and they're looking to continue that pressure. It's going to be whether or not TDE can let Jappy come to these team fights and make the difference we know that Gangplank can. Yeah,
and I think more than coming to the team fights, it's going to be about playing the pre-fight slow enough, because you have poke. Oh, Zenzen getting engaged on.
Both ultis burnt. It's just going to be disengaged there from Zen.
Okay, but yeah, still scary. And you see that the Aurelia is online, and oh, they're not done with Zen here.
Yep, 4 and 5 into the top lane right now from SLR. Pure Llama finds the opportunity to get some damage onto Bob Joseph. He's taken down to less than half. A very late ulti there. He gets out and dodges that Super Mega Death Rocket. It's going to keep him alive. Lots of ultis burning that top lane, but Jappy already reacting to this play from SLR, and it looks like TD doesn't want to be here any longer if they can avoid it. Fang over Fang has gotten so tanky on this Maokai. He's such a dominant force as this front line. TD is scared to even stand up for their inner turret.
I don't know where Fang over Fang is getting his levels from. It must just be kill participation, because he's up on Lee's despite being down 40 farm, which is pretty impressive. And his items aren't, you know, super tank items. He has some tank stats, but a lot of it's just levels.
Yeah, no, and that's the power of being Maokai or just being a tank, is that you can get so much from that XP. You don't need to take that CS, but it looks like he's taking a lot of damage for the moment, using that ultimate to try and pull away. Lands on 2 members of TD, but they are going to try and hold this inhibitor turret. They have Jaffy there. They've got their whole team on the side right now. Bob Joseph trying to look for a way in. There's such... This level deficit is really prevalent, though. 2 levels for Luru. There's 2 levels for Pure Llama right now. And this pre-fight, like you say, it's just going to start to take so much damage. There's some damage on the Luru right there. The cleanse already just get burnt out. Leaves is really trying to force an engage right now. Pops the absolute zero, but gets knocked back in to the waiting hands of SLR, and TDE can't answer that.
They cannot, and yeah, it's just the carries on SLR are doing too much damage. Fang flashes under tower.
Yeah, it does get pushed away right now. The Zhonya's is not going to be enough to save right there, as the Azir is going to fall, and it is the slow, cautious, careful game from SLR that's going to bring them to the Nexus turrets and is going to bring them to point number 1 in this set.
I don't know if they can quite end here.
Oh, big damage there from Jaffe. Anti trying to trade. You know, maybe you're right if they're going to be able to give that much damage over that Gangplank. Kind of forgot.
Yeah,
He's still big. He's still big.
Don't forget about Dre, and don't forget about Jaffe's Gangplank. And TDE is still alive and kicking, but we have a soul point coming up in a minute and a half, and TDE has yet to be able to decisively win a 5-on-5 team fight. And they have to start now, because winning against this soul is going to be even more difficult. So I think they really need a winning fight in a minute here, and we'll see if they can get it. But they still don't have the Infinity Edge and Ashe. Gangplank is huge, 4 items, but Ashe isn't there and Azir isn't there yet. So I don't know. It's a lot's on Jaffe, but it's not just on Jaffe's as a player. It's also on SLR, I feel like, to maybe not focus him properly, not play around him properly, because when there's one point of strength that you have to worry about, it's so easy to just focus that one target down or avoid that one target's damage and ignore everything else if they don't need to be respected.
But what if Jaffe finished his 6th item?
All right. That's pretty impressive. It's a lot of farm, a lot of gold there, Mr. Jaffe. Maybe he can make someone disappear, as we all know that's why he likes this build.
Yeah, and like, I think that in theory, if you can find a barrel before the fight starts, it's really good. But they are so comfortable to check with Syndra, with Maokai, with Zaps. There's so many ways for them to not get caught in brush right now, SLR, that I don't see them running into any problems of just getting randomly chunked up, but that's what TDE needs. They need some amount of damage onto someone for SLR right now, and it looks like SLR is so confident with the 4v5 that they're going to let anti-pressure this bot inhib. They don't think TDE can find a way in on them.
They might be right, but TDE can get river control at the very least here.
Yeah, and they're going to try and move towards that, but I don't know. Anti's drawing so much pressure. The poke has been so much better from SLR. There's the engage potential right there on a Tep, who gets taken down to half HP. Zenzen's already taken so low, though. There's the kill potentially on the Lulu, as Anti's still pressuring into the base right now. Bob Joseph finds a way to Luru. Here comes the TP right now. It is 4v2. This Jinx is so strong, and is going to chunk away so much damage. Pure Llama with the Scatter the Weak, and the kill coming down from that Syndra. It is 2 members remaining, and the GP is gone. The mid turret is gone. The bot inhib is gone. And I think TDE might be running out of a hope here.
Yeah, that's going to be Soul. There's only 1 Nexus tower remaining. It's going to be more inhib towers, because they don't even need everyone to take the Soul. They're taking all the jungle camps. This looks like an SLR win. The gold is still so close, but so much of it is on that Gangplank, and everyone else on TDE just hasn't gotten to where they need to be in this game.
You're very positive. 6k gold? You call that one close right now? Maybe Anti's feeling it a little bit too much here right now, though. He looks like he's about to get caught out. Now there's room for Ultravox to do a lot of damage here. That Irelia is disgusting at this point. And is going to try and take this one. 1 versus 3. Gets himself set up with a double kill thus far. Is stacked up. Doesn't have that ultimate available, though. Might not be able to turn. Great double stun there. Can't pick up any continued kills, but a 2-for-1 is just rubbing salt in the wound.
And that was the Aurelia that was set so far behind in laning phase. And if that's the character that's doing that to you, it definitely feels really bad. But yeah, you said 6k isn't a lot. This late in the game, 6k, it's certainly a lead that you shouldn't lose. But it's not a lead that you can't lose.
It totally is.
And so, with the Baron buff, it gets even harder. But I think that's what I'm looking at is, if TDE get the perfect fight, if they do have, Luru walks into a Gangplank barrel, if they get the perfect Azir shuffle, you can still win a fight. It's not that bad yet, but I don't know, with the Baron and the Soul, it actually might be now.
It starts to get very, very challenging and very, very, very demoralizing. And it's so important in a situation like this as TDE to just say, hey, we're going to focus on next game. We're going to reset our mentality. What worked this game? Obviously, their early game was fantastic. What didn't work was how they played around their gold, how they played around their advantages, and it's the exact opposite for SLR. Both these teams have big adaptations to make, but how do you obviously you just came out of a best of 5. How do you try and refocus yourself between a game that looks like this where stuff doesn't go as planned, things fall apart? How do you refocus for game number 2?
The big thing is to figure out why you lost, and not why you lost. There's a lot of reasons that you can lose a game. So why you lost isn't necessarily important, but it's what you can do to avoid losing that way. So sometimes that's a mentality shift. So like we're picking scaling. We need to not be so aggressive in the mid game. We can take our advantage and play it slow. But sometimes it's actually, we know that's correct. We know that's where we made a mistake, but we're not good enough. We don't think we have it in us right now.
Maybe that's the barrel they're looking for right there, as the ultimate does find a way on Luru. There's the cleanse getting burned out. Bob Joseph is so far in the backline right now. They're using that cannon barrage to kind of zone away SLR from getting this final inhibitor, but they need to reserve members to clearing out their single remaining Nexus turret, and SLR is going to take that as an opportunity to walk into the base right now. Jaffe looking for more barrel setup. They're dodging the poke away from Jinx right now, which I would say is really important to continue to do. There's a good chunk of damage found right there onto Zen, who's continually just found himself half HP before fights start. Oh, more damage from Jaffe.
More damage from Jaffe, and yeah, Jaffe is really keeping this inhibitor alive single-handedly. And maybe if you drag it out to Elder and you get a miracle fight there, it's anything can happen. But I wouldn't want to be playing in TDE shoes here. But yeah, back to prep. So you can either change your playstyle or you can change your draft. You can say if we want to play aggressively, we just need to draft aggressive champions. So based on the play this game, if you can consistently have early games like that, I would love to see TDE just play an early game beatdown comp and just say, if that's where we're going to win, we're going to snowball from there. And on the side of SLR, I wouldn't be surprised to see some adaptations in laning as well, because that did not go as well as they hoped.
Anti's found his way into the top lane right now. TDE does not want to answer. TDE does not want to look for this at all. Enchanted Crystal Arrow right there lands onto Luru. He gets taken down right now. Jaffe finding that first kill, has a lot of damage available. It's going to make it hard for Pure Llama to get away through that absolute zero. They're going to find 2 kills, and they're going to try and retreat away. Anti has TP'd in. There's the headbutt forward. Finds the stun onto Ultravox. Gets CC'd. That Gore Drinker makes it so hard to kill, but not invincible. TDE finds a team fight at the 11th hour.
Yep, they already had the cleanse down from Luru in the last Ash Arrow, and it's late game, so that cooldown is nothing. So the second Ash Arrow comes through, and that's a teamfight win, but their base is in shambles. Aurelia was pushing top the whole time.
And in Barrage, there's the play from Zen. He's going to try and play Sacrificial here. There's the kill that goes over to Tef, gets exploded by Jaffe. Jaffe's gangplank has been all over SLR. It is 1,000 gold to Ultravox. An ace picked up for TDE.
Yeah, but they only have 2 structures left. They have the necessary one and then this unnecessary bottom inhibitor. So they are going to have you under a ton of pressure from supers for the next few minutes, and that's going to make contesting this Elder really difficult. Yeah, they win the fight. They're still alive. Man, I wonder if Anti is supposed to just let his team lose the fight and keep pushing in the top lane.
I feel like that could have been huge, like, especially if TDE starts to get drawn away, but like, I don't know if they were turning there because of the teleport or if they were looking to go back to Anti there.
That's fair.
Like, if it's hard to say really what their best play is there, but I think Anti had a lot of power to dictate and was very confident to say, hey, I think we win this fight, even though we're down our Jinx. We've won it before when Luru died early in a fight. Because that Syndra is also so big. It's their 2 main carries, Luru and Pure Llama, and it really has been that story this season. Obviously, Pure Llama has been alternated with Guilty, but I don't think Guilty has had trouble filling those shoes. Those have both been phenomenal mid laners this season. And with 30 seconds on the Elder, the real concern has to be the TP from Pure Llama potentially ending this game. Jaffe has teleport as well, though, so I think this fight could just be at Elder 5 versus 5, and that could decide the game.
The problem with Jaffe being your teleport is that we've talked about this gangplank being so important, but we've talked about the setup from gangplank being so important. You have to get barrels off before the fight, and if you're teleporting in mid-fight, you can't get barrels off before the fight. So Jaffe, he needs to TP early, and he did.
There's no way into the base right now. There's the engage from Zenzen. It misses 3. Jaffe looking for this play on the backline right now. Luru gets his first reset. There goes the Lulu, but there are 3 in the middle of SLR. Ultravox has been chased away. Jaffe's going to try and play around this Elder Dragon. Why would they try and answer this great flash from Anti, giving their only hope and a prayer? Just a dart in the back, it takes him down. And this surely will be game number 1 going to SLR in 40 minutes.
Yeah, that looks to be game. There's no more structures left. I don't know why they're bothering with this inhibitor. They could have just gone straight to the Nexus, but style points, get all the objectives. And yeah, a rough early game from SLR, but they really out-team fought and out-skirmished TDE throughout the game. And that's a huge confidence boost going into game 2, knowing that, hey, things didn't go right, but our coordination was just better.
For sure. No, I think that they SLR really did show up in a good way, and it took a minute, you know, like they weren't strong immediately that game, but they showed up, and it really, like, Luru was huge, Pure Llama was huge, and Luru really did not feel comfortable in that laning phase, but good job to keep a level head and keep going. But that's what TDE needs to learn from, is take a level head, try and keep this game going, and we're going to see if they're going to be able to do that carrying on into our second game. It will not be a long wait, so please stick around.
Change.